as mentioned in the previous lecture, I promised a full lecture on Japanese internment, and only Japanese internment. This all begins in early 1942 when President Franklin D. Roosevelt issues Executive Order 9066. That executive order instructs all people of Japanese ancestry living in certain areas, mostly the West Coast, to be relocated to secure internment camps. You can see here a map, geographical distribution of the Japanese population as of 1940, and that this is what the United States military used to know where it wanted to go to target people of Japanese ancestry. You can see here a storefront in which a Japanese person was in an act of protest putting up a sign on their place of business, "I am an American." You can see a photograph here of a woman holding her baby as she is escorted into an internment camp, and then a long line of folks entering an internment camp here. And of course, the executive order itself. Once Pearl Harbor had taken place, racist incidents against Japanese Americans were on the rise. Japanese citizens were assumed to be traitors. You can see here, "No Japs wanted, no Japs wanted." This is someone's home that has been vandalized. An American citizen whose home has been vandalized. So not only are they assumed to be traitors, but after the executive order, they are forced from home by the United States military. Here is a family being forcibly removed from their home. And in eerily similar photographic evidence to the Holocaust, they're loaded on trains, much like Jews in Europe were loaded on trains by the Nazis. A zoomed-in version of the photograph from before of the woman holding her baby. Both she and her baby are tagged like cattle on their way into the internment camp. They're then herded like cattle to their sleeping quarters and living quarters. While in the internment camps, they're fed like cattle in large barracks-style cafeterias. Is that the America that you know? Here's an ironic photograph of an internment camp in the rural West, with the flag that supposedly stands for liberty and justice flying above the camp. Is that the America that you know? Yeah, me either, said Fred Korematsu. So Fred Korematsu sued the United States federal government, claiming that as a United States citizen, he could not be forced from his home and into an internment camp. Unfortunately, in the Korematsu vs. U.S. decision, the Supreme Court said that people of Japanese ancestry indeed posed a clear and present danger to United States national security, much like Schenck vs. U.S. during World War I, when Charles Schenck was sent to prison for speaking out against the war, and more specifically for interfering with U.S. military recruitment efforts. Korematsu was made to stay in the internment camp with his family. So the Supreme Court upheld this government action. And while reparation payments and honors from future leaders like here, Fred Korematsu is being honored by President Bill Clinton, while reparation payments were made to families, Fred Korematsu was honored at the White House for standing up for what was right. Justice can never truly be done for what happened. And so I ask you to consider probably one of the most famous quotes in history. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And here we are in the 21st century, and these kinds of hateful feelings still exist. Not that long ago, in the midst of the war on terror, a sitting United States congressman, and I won't tell you which party they were from, because it doesn't matter, but a sitting United States congressman was quoted as referring to the other party's members as so radical they should be put into camps. So if you think that these kinds of hateful feelings don't still exist today over silly, petty things like race or political affiliation, you're sorely mistaken. So I ask that you consider this quote. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. That is the end of the presentation. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Otherwise, I will see you in class.